Covez. And if you're joining us for the first time, we are chatting with real people doing real things extraordinarily. And we are live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So TGIF and a happy Friday, everybody. Cheers, Jeanette.
Cheers.
Cheers. We are
I'm
at
like,
the
I'm on
end of
here
the
already.
week.
Okay.
You do what?
I said I'm on. Okay, we're good.
Yes, ma'am. You are on like fire. Woo!
Yes.
But yeah, happy Friday. It is a TGIF end of the week, and so hopefully everyone had a great week this week. Did you have a great week this week?
I did. It was a busy week, but it was really good, productive.
Mm-hmm. So good. So well, cheers to that.
Yes, cheers.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So we are welcoming back Jeanette Lira, who is the CEO and owner and founder of Auravia.
Auravia.
Holistic therapy. So welcome back, Jeanette.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. It's been it hasn't been that long. I think the last time we chatted was a couple of months back, but you're my touch point in all things therapy and mental health and self-care and stuff. So I absolutely love being able to have you come on and just chat about some issues that probably need addressing. And this week, one of the issues that keeps coming up all the time, we see it all the time, we hear about it all the time, is ghosting and its effects. But before we get started with anything, for those that weren't with us the last time we had you on, can you give us just a little bit about yourself so folks can get acquainted with you?
Sure. So I am the owner of Auravia Holistic Therapy. We have 4 locations, 3 here in San Antonio, Helotes, Hill Country Village, and Medical Center. And then we opened up one over in Victoria, Texas recently. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I run the business, I do the counseling, I see the clients, and I kind of do everything. I love it.
And you're a mom. And
yes.
Before that, you were in the school system. You were a teacher, right?
Yes. I was a teacher for 2 years, school counselor for 8. I'm a mom of a little 3-year-old. I love him to death when he drives me wild, but it's a great life.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's kids for you.
Yeah.
That's just kids for you. They have your heart for once they come into this world, your heart is theirs for the rest of their life and your life.
Yeah. I always say I can never be mad at him too long because then he just looks at me and he's just precious.
Oh, I know. He's such a cutie. Boy mom. Yay. Fantastic. Awesome. So let's get right into it. Let's get into this phenomenon of ghosting. So tell us, what is ghosting?
So ghosting is pretty much when you are talking to somebody and all of a sudden they disappear. There is no explanation. There's no like communicating. It's just one day they're there and the next day they're gone, literally like a ghost. They disappear. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it happens a lot, actually.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know. I mean, we hear about it a lot, and people have just, they it's like a common word now, but I think it needs more exploring and I guess more understanding as to why people do it and then how it's affecting people on the other end of it. And that's kind of what we wanted to kind of get into the gist of today. So with that, with that being said, do you think that because we have so much emphasis on social media now, big time, do you think that has contributed to ghosting and to people just not wanting to be present anymore? Because a lot of us have our nose behind the computer or our faces behind our phones and that kind of thing. So what's your take on that?
So you just saying that, a bunch of things just kind of like lit up in my brain. But first of all, I think ghosting is something that's always been around. I think it's more prevalent now because of social media and because of technology. But ghosting pretty much is somebody just being avoidant of emotion. They don't want to communicate. They don't want to, they want to save themselves from any what's the word I'm looking for? Conflict. They don't want to be in conflict. They don't want to explain themselves. They want to disappear and just put the wall up and say, okay, I'm done. I don't need to explain anything to you. I just can walk away. Now I think it's just more prevalent because of technology and because of social media and because of dating sites. I mean, dating sites are everywhere. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's people on multiple dating sites. Early in my career, I did research on dating. It was a lot of fun. So I've actually been the ghoster and the ghostie. So it's just, I don't know, it's been everywhere, but definitely because of the world and society today, I think it is more prevalent and people talk about it more. Um, Also, being in this world post COVID, people are more aware of their emotions and their feelings, and they're getting out into counseling again, and they're becoming, they're being more aware of what's going on in their body and their thoughts. And so when it happens, uh, it's just something that I guess they're able to express a little bit better now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And then so you made a comment, you were the ghoster and the ghostie. And
Mhm.
so I mean, if they're building up that wall, I mean, tell me a little bit about what happened on both ends of that coin.
Sure, sure. So being the ghoster is the one that's like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to
Mhm.
communicate anymore. Maybe they said something. I was talking about this with some of my admin earlier, and I was like, what makes you want to ghost somebody? And they
Mhm.
said, whenever they get the ick. So the ick, according to my admin, my young little 20-year-old admins, um, is that something that that person does or doesn't do that makes you just shut down and you're like, okay, that's it. I don't want anything to do with them. And now these days with technology, I mean, you just don't respond or you block them or it's just easy.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, well, what was your first
So
question? My
but
brain tends to get off track.
interestingly enough though, yeah, no, that's fine. Interestingly enough though, I think I feel like 99% of conflict and issues and
Mhm.
miscommunication is the lack of communication.
Yes.
So how does that play into it? I mean, if I have a feeling that I don't like what this person did, or I don't like what that person did, but I never address it to those people, where's the resolve? Instead of just putting
Yes.
up that wall and saying, no, I'm not going to communicate with you anymore, I'm done.
That's the
Yet it could
thing.
have been solved. Yeah, it could have been solved very quickly
Mhm.
just by a quick,
Hey, what's
conversation,
going on?
perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't get resolved. And a lot of people, I'm going to rewind a little bit
Hmm.
and talk about attachment styles. So our relationships kind of evolve and grow based on our attachment styles from when we were young, how we got the love from our parents, and all of that kind of can affect a relationship later on. So there's an avoidant attachment. If you have an avoidant attachment, you're not going to be good with that communication. You're going to
Hmm.
struggle with communication. You're going to want to hide and run away because communication and confrontation is not your thing. You don't know how to do it. A lot of people that are ghosting others is because maybe they have an avoidant attachment style and they don't know how to communicate. A lot of them just have never been able to do that. Nobody has taught it to them. Their parents didn't communicate with them. The love that they received from their parents was very situational or not always there. The communication was not always there. Maybe the love was there, but there was no communication about emotions or feelings. And if you've never done that before, then how are you going to communicate to this partner that you just met and tell them what you're feeling when you're fearful of that?
Hmm.
So in that case, the ghoster would just disappear
Hmm.
because it's so easy to find another person to try to connect with.
At our fingertips, because we're right here.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah,
right
you just
here with
swipe.
social media, with swipe,
You just
whatever,
swipe.
dating.
Exactly. We were talking about that too. I was like, how easy is it to find somebody to date? Just to date, not to have a
Hmm.
relationship with, but
Hmm.
just to date. It's easy.
Hmm. Interesting. So, are you seeing that more young folks, potentially young folks, are dealing with this, and or is it somewhere where it's young folks, it's our age folks, it's older folks, it's a combination of it,
Yes.
and with that also, it's not just a dating issue, is it? So, two-part question.
Yeah. So I see it like across the board.
Okay.
Majority of my clients are anywhere from young adult like 20s, early 20s, all the way to like 50, 60s years old. And they're single, they're married, they have families. Um, they're new in the dating game. They're not new in the dating game. Um, but yeah, it's across the board. And I think it's something that happens because of attachment styles.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. What was the second question you asked?
And then it's not just a dating issue, right?
No, it's not. People can be avoidant in relationships. If you look at a lot of couples, sometimes they're married for years, but there's some ghosting even in a marriage that's forever. Maybe the husband or the wife doesn't know how to communicate, so they shut down. They put up a
Mhm.
wall. Maybe I'm mad at you, so I'm going to give you the silent treatment. That's like a form of ghosting. There's other types of ghosting too. It's not that just the abrupt, like, okay, I'm done. I'm not talking to you again with no explanation. But there's the ghosting that will happen um, whenever it's not convenient. And so they'll disappear while it's not convenient. And then they'll reemerge when it is convenient and they want you in their lives. I mean, there's different types of ghosting also.
Mhm. One of the things that I saw also when looking up on this topic as
Mhm.
well was that one of the like original forms of ghosting was like, hey, I'm going to go out to the store and go grab a some groceries, or I'm going to
Mhm.
go grab a some people are out there. I'm going to go the dad goes out. I'm going to go grab a pack of cigarettes, and
And
they
then
never
they
come
don't
back.
come back.
They don't come back. Yes,
Yeah, it's been
yeah.
around forever. It's been around forever. And like I said, I think it maybe goes back further to attachment styles versus dating and social media and all of that that's been around, because I think it's always been there.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
way you receive it too, on the other end, being the ghostee, has to do a lot with your own attachment style. Are you an anxious attachment person? Are you insecure and you need to be shown love all the time to know that that person wants and needs you in their life? Are there insecurities about other things? If there are, then you're going to be affected by ghosting a lot more than somebody who is an avoidant attachment style that's like, whatever, let me move on to the next.
Hmm. Yeah. So as a ghoster, I guess,
Mhm.
why do people do it knowing that, it's no one likes to be ignored.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good, right? It's kind of
Mhm.
hurtful. It hurts people, doesn't feel
It
good.
does.
So why do you think people do it?
So the one thing, and I always tell my clients, I'm a little blunt. And so I always apologize when I first meet them. And I always let them know, like, hey, if I'm going to offend you, please let me know, because I can be very blunt. But it comes down to the fact that people are selfish. People
Mm-hmm.
only care about themselves. There's a handful of individuals who have that empathy for other people. It's not a lot of them. And so when a ghoster ghosts somebody, they're not thinking about that other person. They're thinking about themselves and saving themselves and making themselves feel comfortable.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that does. That does. So again, going back to your ghoster, ghostee, how did you feel being on the receiving end of that, knowing that you've done it to somebody else? You know that
Mhm.
probably, or you're saying for selfish reasons,
Mhm.
didn't want to deal with it, you wanted to be in your comfortable space.
Mhm.
That flip side, I mean, how was that a turn of events for you?
Again, it goes back to how that person feels about themselves internally. If that person is a secure person and they have a secure attachment, and or they're avoidant even, it's not going to affect you as much, because you're going to know that there's other people out there and that person just did you a favor by disappearing. Because
Hmm.
honestly, that person probably needs therapy.
Go see
But
Jeanette.
exactly. Well, maybe not me, but you can see some of my other people. But on the other end, I mean, it can also be like, maybe I'm insecure about myself. Maybe I just got out of a 20-year relationship and I'm divorced and I'm single for the first time. Or maybe I'm that person that has always been anxious and always craved affection and attention. And when I don't get it, I feel like I'm less of a person. Those people are going to take it a lot harder than the others. They are going to feel like they weren't good enough. They're going to feel like they did something wrong. They're going to feel depressed, anxious, sad, all the things. And that is not because they are less of a person or because they did something wrong. It's because of their attachment style and what they need in a relationship. And if they aren't strong and secure within themselves or confident within themselves, then they're going to feel like there's something wrong with them. They
Mhm.
ghosted me. They disappeared. What did I do wrong? Did I do
Mhm.
something wrong? Did I say something wrong? Was he not into me? I thought things were going good, you
Mhm.
know? And then all of a sudden they disappear.
Yeah. So it's basically the folks that are having the biggest effects that you're seeing, right, from the folks that you've been um,
Mhm.
in contact with and dealing with this particular issue is a lot of the inward turmoil. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yes. Yes, a lot of people that are going to take it harder, it's because they are not as secure within themselves. Maybe they don't know who they are as an individual. Maybe they mold to their partner. Maybe they are doing what everyone is expecting them to do instead of who they internally actually are.
Hmm. Gotcha. So, what can people do if they're a subject of ghosting?
Mhm. Um, Definitely don't. It has nothing to do with you. Anytime somebody treats you in a negative way, it never has anything to do with you. It
Mhm.
always has something to do with them. There's this quote that I always bring up that I can never be mad at somebody because I know too much about psychology and the brain. That's the thing. It has nothing to do with that person and everything to do with the insecurities of the person who's doing it.
Hmm.
That
Wow.
person was being themselves and living their life and doing their thing, being true to themselves. And all of a sudden, the man that they thought they were connected to or the woman they thought they were connected to disappeared. Automatically, you're going to think, oh, there's something I did wrong. There is nothing that that person did wrong.
Hmm. So, what about? So, I've had this come up also with just in conversation with people and whatnot. And it's not just, and we've already established that it's not just a dating thing. What happens
Mm-mm.
when, a family member ghosts you?
Yeah, that happens too. It happens a lot.
Hmm.
Um, it's the same thing though. It's the exact same thing. That family member is avoiding something. Maybe you did something to that family member or said something to that family member that they didn't like. And because they are avoidant or they don't want to deal with it, they're going to shut you off. They're going to be like, well, I'm just not going to talk to her ever again. Or I'm not going to talk to him ever again because they pissed me off. And I don't want to communicate with them. Maybe because I don't know how to, maybe because I'm anxious about it, maybe because I don't know the outcome. But they essentially just turn off and put up the wall, close the door, and say, I'm done. It's just
And
easier.
yeah.
But but again, it has nothing to do with that person.
Hmm.
It has everything to do with the person that's shutting the door.
Hmm. So, and again, because it's with inside a family, sometimes that this
Mhm.
is happening. What would be some tips that they could do or people can do to kind of get over because they're always looking inward. They're like, what did I do wrong? It's
Yeah.
me, and it's not. It's them, right?
Mhm.
As we were talking about, but it hurts even more because it's a family member. Now,
Yeah.
what could they possibly do to help kind of get over the fact that their family member is not talking or communicating with them anymore?
So, a couple of things come to mind when you say that, but one thing is learning about boundaries, learning how to protect yourself. If there is a family member who is causing you inner turmoil or making you feel distress of any kind, it is okay to put a boundary up. It is okay to say, I'm going to see you at family events and be cordial, and that's it. It doesn't mean that you have to completely drop that person from your life or be affected by that person every time you see them. We
Mhm.
are in control of our emotions, and we are the ones that can put that boundary in place and tell ourselves that it wasn't about me, it was about them. And there
Mhm.
is nothing I can do to help that person fix that other than just take care of myself.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm out of questions. I'm actually out of questions. But I know this is a hot topic
Mhm.
amongst a lot of people because I've had a lot of different friends and conversations about this. And, you know, we're looking inward and we're always trying to figure out self care and,
Mm.
making sure that there's no negative self talk. We have a good, clear mental health pathway. But sometimes these kind of things get thrown in the way and
Oh,
then
yeah.
what do you do? You know,
Yeah, no, it,
what do you
it can
do?
be very difficult. You could be living your life thinking that you're going down the right path, and then all of a sudden, bam, you get hit with something like this, and you're like, oh my
Mhm,
gosh, I can't control my emotions anymore. I thought I had my life together. It's not that you don't have your life together, it's that you probably need to take a few steps back, take a deep breath, maybe seek out some professional advice or help from a counselor or even a coach, or even like a best friend who's not afraid to give it to you straight. But a lot of times it's just reminding yourself, like, hey, this is not about me. It's not that you can't keep a relationship or get a relationship. It's that that person was not supposed to be in your life. And just reminding yourself those things, putting the boundaries in place, reminding yourself, like, hey, well, if this guy is doing this or this woman is doing this, well, maybe they're not a good fit for me. A lot of things that I tell my clients is I'm a firm believer of the universe and the energy of the universe and
mhm,
going down the right path. Um, if you're trying to force something to work and you're giving chance after chance, even though there's red flag after red flag, the universe is throwing those red flags at you to remind you to go somewhere else. Like turn around and go the other direction. They're there to remind you to go the other direction instead of pushing to go forward. Um, and a lot of people like to push to go forward because they see this person and they're perfect. They check off all the boxes, right? And I just want to keep trying. And I want to keep trying. I need to let them know that I am there for them. I need to let them know this. I need to, no, you don't. You don't. The right person is going to just show up and do those things.
mhm.
They're going to want to communicate with you. They're going to want to be part of your life. And if you're not having that, whether it's a family member or someone you're dating or even your husband or wife, then there's something going on there. And sometimes it's not us to be able to fix it. They need to fix it on their own.
Brava. Awesome. Thank you so much. Is there anything
You're
else you'd like to add on
welcome.
this?
I don't know. I mean, if you keep asking me stuff, I probably pull out a bunch of other stuff. But I think the number one thing, just for everybody or anybody who's experiencing this or no longer wants to be the ghoster, whether you don't want to do it anymore or whether you're um, tired of feeling like nobody wants you or cares about you because you've been ghosted, um, definitely number one is go seek somebody to talk to. Go talk about these things. A lot of these attachment styles are rooted in childhood trauma.
Mhm,
Childhood trauma can be easily fixed if you go to the right therapist that has the right tool to help you. Um, it's something that you don't have to live with or struggle with.
mhm. And childhood, well, piggybacking off of that, childhood trauma is something that's at the root cause of a lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
we think, see, feel, do,
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of. And it's probably something that's super difficult, I'm sure, as you've seen, and probably takes a pretty long time, no, to kind of work
It
through.
it does. It really does. It'll take some years. It'll take others a few moments. I mean, it just depends on the person. It depends on
Mhm,
the tool. If you're going to get specialized treatment, either in EMDR or ETT, I do a form of ETT, which is emotional transformation therapy. It's very quick. You rewire the brain. You desensitize the trauma. You desensitize the emotion. I've had some clients that come in 6 times and then it's gone and they no longer are affected by that. I have others that come for me for years and they're still working on it. So
mhm.
it just depends on the person and the type of tool that their therapist is using.
What is EMDR?
EMDR is very similar to ETT, where there is desensitization of the trauma and the emotion that gets triggered. But essentially, both of them are using eye movement. EMDR is more eye movement, and ETT is more eye movement, color, and light.
Ah, okay.
Mhm.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know anything about that. And because you are the expert at it, especially when it comes to holistic therapy,
Mhm.
um, that's fabulous. So folks can go talk to somebody or get some kind of specialized treatment to work through these issues and deal with it
Yes.
as they come up.
And trauma is usually best worked through with a specialized treatment, not just with talk therapy. You need more than just talk therapy.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Because we can
Mhm.
do that at the local bar to our bartender or
Exactly.
friend, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. Oh, wow. Well, awesome. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much again for coming on. Jeanette will probably I'll be pulling her in every so often just because I think mental health stuff and mental health awareness and the things that we go through day to day are super important. And so tapping into you as a resource is just absolutely phenomenal. So I appreciate you coming on and taking your time out on a Friday to hang
Mhm.
out with us and chat with us. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love it. Anytime you want to talk about anything mental health or dating or relationships, give me a call. Like that's my jam.
That is, I know that is. And she's so good at it, guys.
Yes.
All right. So thank you. And of course, like always, I love to have a just for fun speed round with all my guests. So are you ready to go?
Sure. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So what's your New Year's resolution?
To become organized. I'm so all over the place.
Okay. So check you and me both.
Yes.
Because I feel like if I get more organized, I won't be procrastinating so much. Because right
Yeah,
now I'm
I
like, such a bad
yeah,
procrastinator.
I feel like I'll be a lot more productive.
Yeah, for sure. Organization just helps clear the path to be
Yeah,
productive. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll get there. I'll get there. We'll touch
One
back in
day,
6
one
months
day.
and see how we're at, where
Yeah,
we're
one
at.
day. Or I'll just increase my ADHD meds, like one or the other. Like we'll be good.
Okay, so would you
Yeah.
rather jog or bike?
Jog.
Awesome. Do you
Mhm.
like the winter cold or the summer heat?
The heat, because I love the water.
Me too. But yeah,
Mhm.
I like the snow, but I like to like fly into it and then fly out of it. I don't want
Yes.
to live in it.
No.
All right. So I
Yeah.
think maybe because you like the summer heat and the water, would you rather be stuck in a bungalow on an island or in a penthouse apartment in the city?
Oh, the bungalow on the island.
Yeah. So water baby over here.
Mhm. Yep, that's one of my elements. Air is my element, but, I've been told that water is one of mine too.
Oh, awesome. I am Earth.
Uh-huh.
That's one of mine. Fabulous. All right, Jeanette, thank you so much for coming on. For everybody else, cheers
Yeah,
to the
cheers.
weekend. Cheers to Friday. And again, don't forget, I am on YouTube. If you haven't gone over to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell to get all the latest content as soon as it is uploaded. So we'll see you guys next week and have a great weekend. Thanks, Jeanette.
Bye, thank you.